This guy knew exactly what he needed to do. It was just 6 hours of work, and that was completely it. Yet he hadn't done it. And it was to create a completely different life. It was the one thing that would have changed his life massively. And weeks had passed. Literally weeks. It's not procrastination. It's something way more specific. And it's costing those ambitious business owners far more than they actually want to admit. So he's a successful business owner. He's clear on where he wants to go. He has this direction pinned in. He's got this big life goal on the horizon. He knows exactly what he wants, which is a big move abroad to have his business running or maybe sell. It's a new chapter for him. It's something him and his partner have wanted for years. To do this, he needs to move his business to a bigger location. He needs to scale it. He needs to become bigger and better. But he knows this is the right step for him. Both of these things require action. Both have been sitting there kind of half-baked, half-started, despite knowing exactly what he needs to do. So on the business side, he needs to put a plan together. It's 6 hours worth of work. He said it himself. And the life admin is just a few dedicated hours per week. Nothing much. Both of them are completely in reach. Both keep on getting pushed back. But both of them would transform his life. They're exactly what he's always said he wanted. And that's the pattern. I constantly see it in ambitious, driven business owners. They're not lazy, they're not confused. They're actually addicted to urgency. They've outsourced the one very thing that matters most, deciding that something is important enough to move on right now. On the surface, it looks like this. It looks like it's never the right time. Things keep on popping up and getting pushed back. So the opportunity never materializes. I would love to do that, but is the kind of thinking. But beneath that, what's actually happening is their first level of success in business came from hustling and reacting to external stressors, external sources. Something would happen. There'd be so much urgency in their business that they'd just have to respond. And it's a great skill in running a business to begin with in the initial phases. You have to become, though, self-initiated eventually. You have to create that urgency yourself. It's not going to come when things are good and easy. Nobody is going to create that level of urgency for you, and you're waiting for it. It has to come from within. So I used one of my strategies to discover exactly what this guy wanted, and I took him through it, and he knew exactly. There was no hesitation, there was no doubt. He admitted to himself, it's like, this is what I want. But then the doubt creeped in. Then it was like this old identity creating a limit of what he can achieve. And that sounds kind of weird, but he knew what he wanted, but then his identity started undermining him, started the second guessing. And it turns out that the slow progress he's experiencing in these goals, it wasn't anything about knowing what to do. It wasn't a lack of clarity. It was not a lack of strategy. It was the untrained capacity for challenge. His identity, who he viewed himself as, could only handle so much growth, and he was at his limits of it. He needed to grow and expand into someone who could create the urgency, to someone whose norms expanded. It's not really self-doubt that stops a lot of business owners from acting like operators. It's not knowing the strategy either, or not knowing the strategy. It's the identity waiting to feel the urgency in order to act, rather than initiating itself. For this guy, for this business owner, the system was really, really simple. First step with him is just, what's your weakness? What's the challenge? You know this. For him is that identity limit that we spoke about. Second, we put together the sets and reps. What are you going to do? How are you going to stretch yourself? And then to do this, we created the exact goals, the exact deadlines to target. And then I hold him accountable because we're meeting up every other week and we're discussing how it went and we're overcoming the problems as we go. We overcome these challenges, which are natural. And what I want you to take from this podcast is that plateaus are not there because of a lack of strategy. They're there because you've reached the limit of your internal capacity. A lack of aggression in your goal achievement isn't because you're weak, absolutely not because you're weak. It's because you haven't trained your mental fitness to a high enough standard. You haven't increased your capacity to thrive under the challenge. The operator is always the bottleneck. That's you. in your business. It's not the strategy, it's not the market, it's not the timing. And until you can initiate, not just respond to problems, you'll keep waiting for the right conditions to move on the right things that matter most. So this week, choose one goal that you're not achieving quickly enough and ask yourself, if you had to achieve it in 1/10 of the time, what would you do? You've built a business to this point by responding to external pressure. Now build the skill of creating that urgency and driving it. That is your next level.